Welcome. I'm Dee, and this is the Unguided Life, where I am taking it one day at a time, bringing guys along for the journey to hold me accountable as I budget my way through life. So we need to close out our December budget, and I am back to doing my simple format where we're just going to discuss exactly the income I received and what I did for that income in each respective category. Okay, here I was explaining why I do monthly budget reviews. And it's simple. I want to know exactly where my money's going. So having an eye-level overview of my budget and placing these expenses in categories allows me to see what story my money is telling about me. If you initially look at my story in the beginning of the month, it said that I am in debt because a good portion of my money is going towards debt. The story in the beginning probably is not the story at the end, so that's why after I do the breakdown, I reflect, because it's also good to speak life into your budget, not just pull the negative in your budget. Also, when I do monthly budget overviews, I usually find my mistakes, such as miscategorizing items. For example, a portion of what I gave for the month, I actually assigned it to savings because I saved it until I bought the gift. But in the end, it was a gift I was given. So that portion should have been attached to giving. So when I break it down, I'm going to show you how I corrected that. Forgiving. So forgiving, I estimated based on my income to give $334.41. This is automatic giving. Already taken out of my account, so I don't have to think about it, through an organization. And then when I do additional giving, what I had been doing in the past is either throwing it into the envelope system or sinking funds or savings. But giving is exactly that, giving. If it's money that's gonna go away from me and not return, then it's giving. So the actual amount was $606.76. So that included the automatic giving plus the giving that I did for Christmas, which totaled $272 and some change. Then for savings, I had initially put the giving in there because I was saving it for Christmas, but in the end I was spending it. So that's why it needs to go in another category. And the amount that I actually saved was $570, which I actually planned. So that's good. There was no changes in our housing category. Most of my numbers are usually the same because they're fixed. Not too many items I have are variable. So insurance is the same thing. There was no changes there. For lifestyle, again, there was no changes there. For debt, there was changes. I actually sent less to credit card number 4, and because I did that, the amount that I actually sent to debt was $876.10. When it came to the envelope system, when I set it up initially, I put $483.96. Usually that $3.96 I throw to the buffer, but I didn't do it this time. But I actually did it in my income, and I only sent the $480 for the envelope system. And then for the sinking funds, I actually, for the sinking funds, sent less to it than I planned. So I sent $320 to my sinking funds, and then I had a rollover of $8.72. So I'm going to put that there because this is where it goes. And this rollover of $8.72 came from my monthly bill account. There was like $15 left over in the budget that I didn't assign. I did use a portion of that left $3.11. And then in my unbudgeted checking account, there was $5.61 remaining. So that's where that came from. So the $8.72 carries over into my December budget. You should see this, but what is going to happen is I have a new format of how I'm setting up my income breakdowns, and you'll see that in the next video. So now that we did all of that, so let's talk about the percentages. So you can see exactly what I'm doing is and what I need to do is talk about the income, because I didn't do that. The amount that I actually brought in for income was $3,459.25. Not sure why I wrote it crooked, but that's what it was. And that consisted of my first paycheck, which was $1,822.58, and then the second one was $1,636.67. So that's where the amount came from. So what I'm going to do is I'll take the $606.76, I divide it by $3,459.25. That gives me a decimal point. I times it by 100, and then I get 17.5. So then we do the same thing here. So we do 8602 divided by 345925 times 100, and then we round that up to 2.5. So now that I have actually did all the percentages, what I didn't do before doing all of that is adding up the actuals and making sure it did equal this amount before I did that, which you want to do because you want to first make sure that the dollar amounts are correct, because regardless of that, that will mess up everything else. So all right, so we're good to go. That's the right amount. So then let's talk about each category. So initially when I set up my budget, 10% of giving was to my income. I actually gave 17.5%. For savings, I had it inflated because I added the giving to savings versus to the giving category. But the amount that I actually saved was 16.5%, and that is the amount that I actually wanted to save. And if you remember my monthly budgeting video, you will see that I actually wanted to send $285 each time I got paid, because I dedicated 2 paychecks to my December budget. Then for housing, I actually spent 2.5%. The change only comes from the fact that I brought in more. This amount didn't change. This amount itself didn't change either. I actually sent 8.6 to my insurance category, 6.2 to lifestyle. I did send less to debt this time around. I think it was credit card 4. I was supposed to send $100, but I actually only sent $68. So that made this less. So I only sent 25.3% to debt. For the envelope system, it was 13.9. And then for sinking funds, it's actually 9.5%. I sent less to my sinking funds. And I think that came to the fact that I wanted to purchase something for someone for Christmas that wasn't on my initial list. So it was out of the ordinary, plus the actual amount for the rollover. So I hope that makes any sense of why those numbers was a little bit off and less than what I planned, was simply because of the more income. Next thing I want to do is I just want to make sure that the percentages are correct. So we have, I hope you can see it all. Maybe I screwed over just a little. So we have 17.5, 16.5, 2.5, 8.6, 6.2, 25.3, 13.9, and 9.5, 100%. So that's all I wanted to make sure that equal 100% of my income was accounted for, and that's what I want. So what did my money say about me in the month of December? It said that you did an awesome job with tracking your expenses. It said, hey girl, I know that you do a lot of unbudgeted giving. What does that mean about your budget? Well, upon initial analysis, it looks like I give less to myself when I have unbudgeted giving. So we need to check that behavior and see exactly what we can do to curb that. Lastly, my money said something so powerful, and it kind of like screamed at me, and it said, you are a saver. Yes, making saving a priority in December gave me so much gratification. I want that feeling again, so that's why I want to pay this debt. Okay. So I can get that feeling back of actually making saving a priority. So in years past, I used to think I didn't make enough. So I'm going to tell you, at any income level you can save. Start small. Now, in the past, when people used to say that, I'd be like, that sounds dumb. The reason I felt that way because my fear of saving initially. And that mindset will block the understanding that when you're saving and putting a little to it, it's not about the amount, it's about the behavior. So when I realized that when it came to my car maintenance sinking fund, when I created that, that was to help me with like my anxiety of going into an auto shop and getting my car fixed and relieving myself of that feeling of needing to go in debt, borrow money, or take from my budget to fix an expense. Having a car maintenance sinking fund made me the boss. Okay, going in and having the money to pay for the expense and sitting there reading my book and drinking my coffee and not sitting there looking at my bank account and seeing who I can call and, seeing how much money I got in this account to figure out how I'm going to pay this expense. So I say when doing sinking funds, start off small and then gradually add more as you become comfortable with your budget. All right, I'm off the soapbox. So in the meantime, in between time, y'all, peace.